Yes. All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome to the show. I'm your man, KTJ. And today we are getting into it. We're talking about red flags. We're talking about red flags and men you should never ignore. So I got my TikTok folks in there. So you guys drop your comments down below. If you've got a question about something you hear today, drop your comments down below. We're talking about it. 5 red flags I got for you. 5 red flags you should never ignore in a man. 5 red flags you should never ignore in a man. So if you're on the TikTok side, go ahead and just drop your comment, drop your question in the Q&A, and I'll catch it from the Q&A. And so we'll do it that way. And so if you guys are on the YouTube side, drop your comments in the comment section as well, and I'll pull you up and we'll make that happen. So just to give you guys a little backstory on this, I had a young woman. We were having a conversation the other day, and she says to me, she said, Kel, listen, I was seeing this guy. I'm seeing this guy. We're having this kind of situationship. They weren't in a relationship. They were in a situationship. They were seeing each other. They were, occasionally seeing each other. But she really wanted more. And I see a lot of women who fall in this category, right? She'll settle for something, but she really wants more. And so this young lady really wanted more. But this guy, he didn't want more, right? And he told her he didn't want more, right? And so, so as she's telling me the story about her and this guy, and she just mentions that he says, I have a sex problem. He says, I have a sex problem, right? And she just kind of like let that go and started kind of addressing other things that he said. And when she said that, and I noticed that she didn't stop, she just kept going. I was like, wait a minute. So you heard him say he's got a sex problem, but that's not a problem for you, right? And in her mind, she was thinking to herself, if he has a sex problem, that's not a problem because I can solve his sex problem, right? She was thinking, you know what? He loves sex. I love sex. We both love sex. So what's the problem, right? But what she didn't get, which was the wide open, high flying red flag that I heard, was that you are dealing with a man who has told you he has a problem. The man told you he has a problem, and his problem is sex. Now, you would say to yourself, well, you know what? It's no problem because I like it. He likes it. We all like it. But you don't understand a man who has a sex addiction, a brother that's got a sex addiction. He's not interested in maybe just you. Like to you is just you, and you'll just take it with just you. And so as I talked to her, I realized like this is a topic. This red flags topic is something that needs to be talked about more. Like this stuff needs a conversation. And so if you guys are in there, you got a comment. I'm gonna drop these 5 red flags that you cannot ignore, and then I'm gonna go to your questions and answer some of your questions here. So before I get into before I get into the list, the 5 red flags that in men that you should never ignore, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I need you to support the show. Hit that subscribe button, then hit the bell so you don't miss anything if you're on the YouTube side as well as on the TikTok side. Hit that follow button. Would love to have you in the community. Tanya's following. Thank you so much. Appreciate the love. She hit that follow button right away. I love it, love it, love it. So let's get into it. Number 1, and you guys that are following on the YouTube side, I put the words up for you. If anybody want to take notes, you can take notes on this. All right, because this is going to be good for you. So number 1 in the list of the 5 red flags you should never ignore in a man is if a man doesn't tell you the truth. if he's always lying, that is a red flag. You can never follow his story. Oh, I was out shopping. And you ask him, what'd you buy? You were out shopping? What'd you buy? My man said, I didn't buy anything. I just was looking. I just went looking. Right? Lying. And you ask yourself, why are you lying? Right? That is a red flag. Why is it a red flag when a man can't tell you the truth? It's a red flag because at some point in time, you're going to need to depend on him. And a man who can't tell you the truth is somebody who you can't depend on, right? You don't know when he's lying. You don't know when he's telling the truth. You don't know when he's scared, when he's afraid, when he just feels uncomfortable, right? If you don't know, then you don't know. So, look, put your comment in the Q&A box. I can't read it. It goes by too fast. And I got multiple screens I'm looking at. So put your comment in the Q&A and I'll grab it when I finish the list. All right, let's go on to number 2. The second in the list of red flags that you should never ignore in a man is cutting insults. Cutting insults. You cannot ignore cutting insults from a man. When a man is speaking to you and he calls you stupid, he calls you a dummy, he calls you words, that your mama don't even call you. He refers to you as something degrading, right? That is a red flag because I read one time somewhere that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? And some of these people, you think that he's just playing. You think that that's just how he talks. But I'm telling you, for some of these people, that's really what he thinks of you. That's really what he thinks of you. He thinks you're stupid. That's why he calls you stupid. He thinks you're a dummy. That's why he calls you a dummy. And I'm telling you, if a man can't speak beautiful words over you, if a man can't speak uplifting words over you, if a man can't speak to you as if you matter, then that is not the man for you. Come on, somebody say something to me in here. All right. Going on to number 3. The third red flag that you absolutely should never ignore in a man is a man that's controlling and never concedes. A man that's controlling and never concedes. Does it always have to be his way? Does it always have to be his idea? I mean, and he's never listening to your perspective. You say, honey, I don't think we should go down that street, right? And he say, oh, shut up. I'm driving and I'm going the way that I want to go. You say, I don't think that's the right way. He said, you know what? I'm going the way that I want to go, and you got to shut up. You sit down and shut up, right? Just total disregard for your feelings, for your ideas, for your God-given discernment. Men don't always understand the power of a woman's discernment. Listen, and I want to tell y'all something. Let me just stop right here for a minute. Let me call a time out right here. I want y'all to understand something about your boy KTJ. I'm not one of them other dudes who pander to women to say everything that they hope that a woman wants to hear so that y'all buy my products and buy my services. That's not what I do. I don't care if you do or you don't, right? I tell the truth on both sides. I tell the truth when women are wrong, and I tell the truth when men are wrong. right? So I'm not here. I'm not here for the pandering. I'm not that guy. That's not me, right? I'm telling you what I know and what I experience, and both sides do these things. But I'm telling you, as somebody who's worked with men for 17 years as a male counselor, men's fellowship. So I deal with men in the system, men at the church, men in the fraternity. I'm telling you, I understand something about men and how men think. And I'm telling you this idea. Now, let me also put a pin in this right here, y'all, because I want to tell you where this controlling idea comes from. I'm going to tell you where this controlling nature comes from, right? For men, it is important for us to know what to do. For men, right? For men, it is important for us to know what to do, right? Women pretty much rely on a man to be confident, to know where he's going, to know what to do, right? And if you're a man who leans upon his woman too much, you're looked at as a simp. You're looked at as a jellyback. You're looked at as a wuss, right? And no man wants to be called a wuss. No man wants to be called a simp, right? Because we are supposed to know which way to go. I heard some ladies the other day on Clubhouse, in a clubhouse room. They said, "I'm not interested in teaching a man how to love me. He got to show up and know what to do," right? And I'm telling y'all, on a psychological, on a deep psychological level, y'all, men feel like I must know what to do, right? And so this can be misguided when it goes overboard, and now he's controlling. And now it's got to be his way. It's got to be his way, right? Most men who do this sort of thing, he's not really doing it just to out of nowhere. It's because there's an expectation in our culture that a man knows what to do, right? Ladies, let me tell you something. You don't want to make love to a man who don't know what to do. Let's be honest. Let's be honest, right? In the bedroom, you expect that man to know what to do and do it good and do it right. Baby, take your time, do it right. You can do it, baby. Baby, tonight, right? Right? So, and listen, I can remember being a young man and being told by the older boys, "Hey, D, hey, everybody over there." I was told by the older boys, right? They was like, "Look, when you get her in here, you got to do this and you got to do that and you got to do the other thing. And so you got to do it, and you got to do it with confidence," right? They were like, "You got to do it with confidence." And so that told me, they was like, and even if you don't know what to do, you act like you know what to do. And if you act like you don't know what to do, it's going to be bad on you. And so some men learn that lesson very early. I know y'all can't, I know you can't even imagine this actually happens, but this is how many young men grew up, right? And there's a reward for being controlling. There's a thin line actually between being a good leader and being controlling. Most good leaders are controlling, right? But the thing is, most good leaders, they will listen to reason. They are in control, but they will listen to reason. So, you guys, I want to hear all your comments and your questions. Drop them in the Q&A here on the TikTok as well as on the YouTube side. So let me move on to number four. Number four. Moving on to number four. The fourth red flag that in men that you absolutely, positively cannot ignore in a man. Number 4 is a man who's always ready to break up. A man who's always ready to break up. That's a red flag. A man who's always ready to, like, he always ready. Oh, you don't like it? Oh, well, you can you can go. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't holding you. That's a red flag. A man who is always ready to back up and go his way and forget about you. That's a red flag. Why is that a red flag? Angie said, I'd say Biden. I hear you. Look, why is that a red flag? That is a red flag because a man who's always ready to break up, he doesn't understand that to have a good relationship, you have to be willing to go all the way. And every little argument is not worth breaking up over. Are you hearing me? Every little argument is not worth breaking up over. Not unless you're insecure. Not unless you're a person who, who's afraid. Some people who are like that, who live on that edge, like I'll break up with you. I'll break up with you. Sometimes they're looking for a reason to break up with you. Sometimes they are looking for a reason to break up. So, you give them a reason and they're gone. If this is a person that you're dealing with, that is a red flag, because if they can't stand the little, they won't be able to stand in the much. Like, they won't be able to stand when things get really difficult. When you lose your job, when he lose his job, when you lose like your car, you can't pay your bill, or like you always ready to break up over every little thing. Yes, that is a red flag. All right, that's a red flag. All right. Let's see. Okay, so let's go. So we at number 5. Number 5. The 5th red flag that you should never ignore in a man. The 5th red flag you should never ignore in a man is a man that's inconsistent in other relationships. Hey, Nilsey, I see your question. Drop it in the Q&A so I can grab it and answer. Number 5, a man that's inconsistent in other relationships. I want y'all to listen to what I'm saying. A man who's inconsistent as a father in his own children's lives will likely be inconsistent to you. A man who's inconsistent at work, can't hold down a job. He might be inconsistent with you too at some point. Man who's inconsistent at the things that are in his life might be inconsistent with you. You find out. Have you ever been in a long-term relationship? Which is a good question to ask when you're getting to know somebody. Tell me about the longest relationship you've ever been in. And the man says to you, well, I haven't been in a long-term relationship in 25 years. 25 years? Wait, so have you been in relationships? Oh, yeah. I've been in plenty of relationships. They last for a month. They last for 2. They last for 5. They last for 7, and then they're over. But the longest relationship I had was when I was married 25 years ago. Let me tell you something. and he's 48 now. That is a red flag. I'm not saying don't. I'm telling you, it's a reason to pause. You see, listen, if you with people, you see people who have difficulty and they never had a long-term relationship and they're of age. Why haven't you mean you couldn't find there's almost 7 billion people in the on the planet Earth, and you couldn't find one person to stay with, to be with, to continue with? Not one? I'm telling you, that's a red flag. I'm telling you, that is a red flag. So understand that. So I'm gonna run them down to y'all, and then I'm gonna get to these questions that you guys so we're talking about it, the red flags. Are you listening for red flags? Are you listening? Do you have an ear out for red flags? When a person is talking and you can hear where they, because a lot of times people will just, if that's how they live, they will just blurt out whatever they've dealt with, wherever they've gone, they'll just blurt it on out, right? So they've got no problem with it. And I'm telling you, if you listen, you can hear the red flags all over the place. So let me run the list back down to you. Number one, the person never tells the truth. Number two, cutting insults. Cutting insults is definitely a red flag. Number three, controlling and never concedes. Number four, he's always ready to break up. And number five, the fifth red flag in a man that you should never ignore, he's inconsistent in other relationships. And because he's inconsistent in other relationships, he's probably going to be inconsistent with you. All right, let me jump over here and answer some of these questions. Okay. All right. Nilsi said, what about a guy with low self-esteem? Yes, that could be a red flag. But sometimes a guy with low self-esteem can still be respectful. A guy with low self-esteem can still be considerate. A guy with low self-esteem is not likely to be insulting, right? A guy with low self-esteem, he might still tell you the truth. So low self-esteem in itself is not necessarily a red flag. All right. Let me grab some of these others. I see a lot of questions, but y'all didn't put them in the box. Yes. When is it safe to date a man who has lost his wife? Ogomart, thank you so much for that question. Ogomart wants to know, when is it safe to date a man who has lost his wife? A man who loved his wife and is now in the grieving process. You know, it could take time. He's got to go through the grief process, but he's probably also lonely. So a man who's just depends on him. When he is ready, he's ready. Okay. And you can't rush it. All right. Andre said, Andre Reed says, and if he don't have friends, not having friends could be a red flag. A grown man that don't have any friends, who's single and don't have any friends, could be a red flag. It could be that he's driving friends away. Some people just want to be alone and they'll just drive everybody away, purposely or mistakenly. All right. Nilsi said, I'm a recent widow. Okay. So I'm encouraging you to just be careful of these red flags. Sometimes, and just like the lady that I started this conversation talking about, Sometimes you will allow red flags because you are lonely. Sometimes you will go for the red flags because you're lonely and because you're tired of being in that bed by yourself. So sometimes you'll let down your guard on things that you know, on people that you know. Listen, you know what Peanut do. You know how Ray Ray is. you know he don't want no relationship. He want a bed ship. You know, he want a hump and dump. And if you are not paying attention to these things, I heard a talk today. We're talking about emotional intelligence, right? I'm telling you, if you're not aware of these things in yourself, loneliness will cause you to ignore red flags. Not being, having to be by yourself all the time will cause you to ignore all 5 of these red flags. All right. Kater Boy says, I'll be lonely before I subtract my worth and love for myself. It's the truth. It's the truth. That's how loneliness is terrible. But guess what's even more terrible? Getting played. Getting played is more terrible. So, all right. Peppa says, Kel, what if the woman is too emotional? Is it a red flag? A woman that's too emotional, is it a red flag? I don't think that a woman that's too emotional necessarily is a red flag. Not necessarily in itself, right? It depends on how she manages that emotion. If she cries at the drop of a hat, if she always needs, where you at? How come you not home yet? Where? I was sitting up all night. I was sitting up all day. I was waiting at the phone. Okay. Yes, that could be a red flag, right? Angie said, no one is allowed to hump and dump. I'd rather be by myself forever. I hear that. So I'm encouraging you. I'm encouraging you to just be aware. Listen. If you listen long enough, you will hear what a person is really all about. Okay. All right. If you guys don't have any more questions to drop in the box, let me see. Okay. What in the world? Okay. If you guys don't have any more questions, we will go ahead and let it go for today. So I appreciate all of you being here. I would love for you guys to come on over. And if you need to book a session, you can book a session here with me. You could just send an email to lovecoachatlanta@gmail.com. Listen, I often say that your best effort has gotten you exactly where you are right now. Tanisha, if you want to check out the red flags, I'm also on YouTube. So anything that you missed, you can catch it on YouTube. Just go into the search and type The Love Coach, type The Love Coach in YouTube, and you can watch this from the beginning. You'll see the words on the screen so you can take notes and apply what you hear. All right. All right, folks. Thank y'all so much for being here. Until next time, peace and love. See you next time.